What's going on, everybody? This is Jay, the ENTJ. This video is in response to the ENTJ Misconceptions video by EJArendee. It was a pretty good video, pretty accurate. I don't know where, he was getting all of his information, but I know he said he knew at least one ENTJ, through personal experience. So I guess most everything else might have been just research, what have you. But uh, it was pretty accurate. I can't find too much fault with it overall, but there's definitely a lot of misconceptions about me, and I'm going to mostly just talk about my experience as an ENTJ and people's misconceptions about me. I'm not going to speak for everybody else because, I don't know what their experiences are, but for me personally, the main thing that I think people get, from me is they think that I'm angry a lot. They think that because my face is, not very expressive initially, that, I'm annoyed by something. Don't get me wrong, a lot of things do annoy me, mostly idiotic people. But, to be perfectly honest, I'm really not angry most of the time. Usually something triggers the irritation, but I'm not angry just, you know, um, just for the hell of being angry though. But the thing is though, I'm just, I've got FI, and it's inferior on top of that. So I'm just not going to be that expressive. FE is just not on my list of priorities. And if I had FE, I'd be more expressive in my facial gestures and things of that nature. But I don't really have it. I don't use it very often. It's subconscious when I do, basically. So I'm just not very expressive. And then when I talk, because of my objective nature, I'm so matter of fact that people take it the wrong way, because people they claim that they like honesty, but I've come to find out people don't like honesty nearly as much as they claim. So while it sounds good to say, yes, I want you to be honest, you don't really want me to be honest. I'm a little bit more honest than most people are accustomed to dealing with because of that whole TE thing, and it comes across as being just blunt and cold-hearted. And all it is just, a fact. I mean, it's just an objective fact. I um, I don't let you know subjectivity get in the way of me telling the truth. So although I don't want to hurt your feelings, I'm also not going to cover up the truth. In order to spare your feelings, as much you probably would care for me to. And it's nothing personal. I'm not trying to be malicious there. It's just that, if I'm explaining something, or, if you ask me a question, and, I'm going to give you an answer, an honest, direct answer, to where you can't misinterpret, what I'm saying. There won't be any question about what I'm saying. And oddly enough, even when I give a direct answer, there ends up being a question about what I said, because they can't, because it's not that they don't understand what I said. They can't believe that I said it so directly to where they didn't have to figure it out. Because a lot of people, because they're trying to spare feelings, they state things in a vague, okay, or indirect manner, and the person has to end up trying to figure some of it out. And with me, because they don't have to figure anything out, they can't believe that that's all there is. Like, so that's it. Like, yeah, that's it. That's all there is there. But anyway, so people think that I'm mean or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm not mean. I'm just honest, like for real, and not, playing around with it. I have actual honesty, not fe honesty. Which basically is political correctness. I don't have much of that. Political correctness and empathy and things of that nature are not something that I'm, an expert at. If you want empathy and you want political correctness, you're going to have to, talk to a feeling type, preferably an FE dominant person. They'll have all of that for you there. They'll give you all of that you can handle, believe me. But also, I will say, just a point of fact about the forgetfulness thing. ENTJ, well, I personally am forgetful in that my memory just isn't that focused on details. Like I can't remember anything. I'll know what I want to do in my head. I'll have it all organized. I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this, and I'll invariably leave out steps here and there. Or I'll leave things off the list. I'll make a mental note of things that I want to do, make a mental checklist, and then I'll, you know, obviously because it just wouldn't be right if I didn't, leave things off of the list and I have to go back and do them later or whatever the case may be. If I watch a movie, you know, hell, 2 hours after the movie, I will have forgotten 50% of the content, and within 24 hours, I will have forgotten about 60 to 75% of the content. I'll have to watch a movie 3, 4 times just to have a chance at remembering more than half of the material. It's unbelievable, really, that I can, know all of these things, but yet can't remember, up from down sometimes. It's ridiculous. It makes me sick. But you know, another misconception is that people think that I'm introverted, actually, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, I just don't always, act in a demonstrative way when it comes to socializing because, to be perfectly honest, the world is made up of mostly censors, and just, quite honestly, they're usually talking about or engaging in things that I find, you know, um, not very interesting. So I don't generally tend to always go out of my way to get involved in conversations with people talking about stuff I just could give less than a rat's ass about. But having said that, just for kicks, if they seem cool enough, regardless of whether I'm really into it or not, I still will, kind of, shoot the shit with them, because I can go back and forth, with no problem, from a language perspective, I can hold my own fairly well in that regard. My vocabulary is expansive enough to be able to, mix it up with whoever in that regard. So I can, kick flavor with them for a little bit until I get bored with, the superficial material, nature of their, conversation. But I'd rather be having deeper, more meaningful conversations that involve some kind of, you know, um, abstract, you know, um, you know, um, so whatever nature to it. So that's kind of directions I would like to go in. Is just more interesting. Because you can think about possibilities and all these different things. The intuition, is able to be used, to its full capacity. So I like talking to intuitives whenever I can. The problem is I don't know a shitload of intuitives, so I find myself having to deal with talking to a lot of sensors, and to be honest, it gets tedious at times. But you know, having said that, sensors, if nothing else, they tend to keep some perspective, I guess, on present realities and making sure that you stand in the moment. Because sometimes I can get caught up in thinking about these far-reaching goals and possibilities, and sometimes you have to say, okay, what's going on right now and what I need to do right now, and so they tend to handle details that I don't normally want to handle myself. So sensors do have their value, for getting things done right now, as opposed to far off in a distance, what have you. So there's that. Um, as far as like people thinking that like ENTJs are like jerks or whatever. That probably has some truth to it to some extent. I'm not gonna sit here and say yes. I'm never a jerk. I am, but I think that a lot of times it's inadvertent. It's not intentional. it's a situation where, once again, the objectivity kind of gets in the way, of, you know, what people would expect me to say in a situation, so, I'm telling them something, straightforward and direct, and, they're looking at me like, I can't believe you just said that, and, whatever. So, but once again, people say that they like honesty, and then when you give it to them, come to find out they really don't like it nearly as much as they said that they did, or whatever. But, also as far as like being like overly aggressive, maybe like bullying even. I'm not a bully type at all. That couldn't be further from the truth. I've never been a bully type. Um, People actually tried to bully me growing up because I'm not, particularly big or whatever. So yeah, bigger guys trying to, impose their will. I guess, I guess they thought I was some kind of, wimp or something because they were bigger than me. They quickly found out that they were sadly mistaken. And you know what it is with bullies. If you stand up to them, they either, want to befriend you or they try to ignore you at that point. So I had a lot of, a lot of, bully types, end up, becoming friendly with me because they would, it was really more trouble than it was worth to try to deal with me because they knew it was going to be, a confrontation. They bullies don't want a confrontation. So I'm not a bully, and and as far as being intimidating, once again, it's the direct, straightforward nature, especially in a debate. You know, um, like EJArendee said, it's kind of like a freight train coming at you. Because we kind of stand our ground, we stand in front of you, we may raise our voice, we may look like we're angry, but we're really just passionate. And so people kind of get intimidated and taken aback, like, oh shit, he looks like he may, snap if things don't go his way in this situation. But really and truly, I don't even care all the time who wins the argument. I'm probably going to win, don't get me wrong. Just by nature, it is what it is. I'm built for, argumentation. I'm built for logic-based discussions. That's what an ENTJ is built for anyway. I'm probably just going to win just because. Just like if I play an ESTP or ISTP in basketball, they're probably going to beat me, all things being equal. Now, if I just have way more experience than them, then I can get over on them. But all things being equal, if they have as much experience as me, they're probably just naturally going to be able to, manipulate, the situation to beat me in that. If we play chess, all things being equal, I'm probably going to win. But when it comes down to it, I mean, what am I? Yeah, ENTJs. ENTJs can be intimidating, or at least they can be perceived as that. But don't fret. I keep saying I. ENTJs, they just, they're just logical creatures, and we just want to, show what we do best. And so when we're doing that, it comes across as overly aggressive when really it's just passion. So ENTJs, can have a sense of humor. ENTJs can be loose at times, but we are pretty structured. We do like organization, things of that nature. But ENTJs are very strong, in their will, and we do like to, be in control and things of that nature. It doesn't have to necessarily be overly aggressive, but we do like that aspect more than kind of being too go with the flow. We kind of like things to be structured, to our liking. So that's what it is. But if you don't know any ENTJs, I'm here to tell you that you shouldn't be afraid or anything like that. Don't take them too seriously. Just know that when they're being direct and straightforward, it's not to try to hurt your feelings. It's because it's just our nature, and what can you do? It is what it is. At least one thing's for certain with an ENTJ. If you want an honest answer, you ask an ENTJ, and you're going to get an honest answer. So, if nothing else, we're honest. So you can bet on that. I don't tell a lot of lies. My thing with lies is that, if I tell the truth, what are you going to do? I mean, the most you're going to be is mad, and if you're mad, well, you'll get over it. But I rather for you to tell the truth and be mad now than for me to lie and you be really, beside yourself later. So that's the deal with that. So if you don't know an ENTJ, try to find one, talk to them. They're not, we're not as bad as you think. You probably would like us actually, and probably be, appreciative of the fact that, if nobody will tell you the truth, we will. So with that said, ENTJ, signing off. Hope this was informational, at least a little bit for you. Take care.